Today's presentation explores how our understanding of ourselves develops throughout life. The image here of a curious toddler gazing outside captures that early stage of self-awareness, a moment that marks the beginning of self-recognition. Over the course of this presentation, we'll look at important theories and stages involved in shaping our self-concept, self-esteem, and how our identity forms from infancy all the way through adolescence. I'm excited to take you through this fascinating journey of personal development. Today, we'll be exploring the duality of self, starting with how self-recognition and the emerging self develop. We'll then look at how self-concept evolves through early and middle childhood, followed by adolescence. We'll discuss self-esteem and the factors that influence its development. Finally, we'll examine identity, including different identity statuses, contextual influences, and aspects like ethnic identity, gender identity, and future directions. This overview will guide us through the various stages and dimensions of understanding the self. Here, we're exploring the concept known as the duality of self, which breaks down our sense of identity into two key components. First, we have the self as subject, often called the I self or existential self. This represents us as the knower and the doer. It's our sense of personal agency, the feeling that we are distinct individuals with ongoing self-awareness and continuity over time. On the other hand, there's the self as object, known as the me-self or categorical self. This is how we view ourselves through the lens of our characteristics, roles, and how we believe others perceive us. Essentially, it's the self that can be observed and described. The image of this person holding their hair against the soft, natural background adds a serene touch, reminding us of the reflective nature of self-awareness, where we simultaneously experience ourselves as both subject and object. Here, we see how infants develop self-recognition over time. Early on, from about 5 to 18 months, babies treat their mirror images like playmates. They smile and make sounds as if interacting with another child. Then, around 15 months, they start to show self-awareness through the mark test. This is when they notice marks on their own faces in the mirror and try to touch or remove them, indicating they recognize the reflection as themselves. Alongside this, between 15 and 24 months, children begin to use personal pronouns like I and start referring to themselves by name, which are key signs of their emerging sense of self. The image here captures this fascinating process of self-discovery in infancy. Here we see how self-concept develops from early childhood through adolescence. In early childhood, kids mainly describe themselves in concrete terms, things they can see or touch, like their physical appearance or possessions. As they enter middle childhood, their self-descriptions become more focused on psychological traits and social qualities, often comparing themselves to their peers. Then in adolescence, this becomes even more complex and abstract. Teens incorporate their values, beliefs, and behaviors, and their self-concept shifts depending on different social contexts. The image here with diverse dolls visually represents this developmental journey, highlighting how our understanding of self grows richer and more multifaceted over time. On this slide, we explore how children's self-descriptions evolve from early childhood to middle childhood. In early childhood, kids tend to describe themselves in very concrete terms. They focus on their physical features, what they own, their roles within the family, and specific actions they can do, like counting or running fast. These descriptions are all about what can be directly observed. As children move into middle childhood, their self-descriptions become more abstract and complex. They start to include personality traits and qualities, and they become more aware of how they relate to others. Social comparisons become much more important at this stage, as children begin to understand and consider their peers' views and expectations. This shift highlights the growing influence of social relationships on their self-concept. The image of the playground on the right serves as a reminder of the social environments where many of these changes in self-awareness and social comparison take place. As adolescents grow, their self-descriptions become much more complex. They don't just see themselves in terms of basic traits anymore. Instead, they start to include their beliefs, values, moral positions, and even their political and religious views. What's really interesting is that they understand they act differently depending on who they're with or the situation they're in. This can actually lead to feelings of confusion, as they might notice conflicting sides of themselves. But over time, The goal is for them to bring these different perspectives together into a consistent sense of identity, which is an important step in their personal development. Here we focus on self-esteem, which is essentially how we evaluate ourselves. It plays a crucial role in many aspects of life. For instance, low self-esteem in childhood and adolescence can be linked to serious challenges like depression, substance abuse, dropping out of school, risky sexual behaviors, teenage pregnancy, lower relationship satisfaction, and even criminal behavior. On the other hand, young children with high self-esteem usually display confidence and independence, and they tend to cope with stress in healthier ways. Importantly, we can actively promote positive self-esteem through specific interventions, which not only improve performance and well-being, but also help self-esteem become more accurate over time as it starts to reflect actual abilities in different areas. The image here invites us to pause and reflect on how we view ourselves, underscoring the importance of self-awareness in building healthy self-esteem. Here we look at the key factors that influence self-esteem development over time. First, heredity plays a significant role, affecting both overall self-esteem and specific aspects of self-concept more than the shared family environment does. Gender also influences self-esteem, often reflecting societal stereotypes. Girls tend to have higher esteem in areas like reading and relationships, while boys often excel in math and sports. Attachment style is another crucial factor. Secure attachments generally lead to positive self-views and higher self-esteem, whereas insecure attachments can result in either negative or overly idealized self-views. Parenting behaviors matter greatly as well. Authoritative parenting promotes healthy self-esteem, but abuse or lack of affection is linked to lower self-esteem. As children grow, how others appraise them becomes increasingly important. Self-esteem is shaped by perceived evaluations from others, especially in traits like attractiveness that depend heavily on others' views. Likewise, social comparisons become more frequent with age, influencing self-evaluations and helping improve the accuracy of self-perceptions. The image here reinforces how these influences unfold within the broader context of family, peers, and school, illustrating just how layered and complex the development of self-esteem really is. Here we're focusing on identity, which is really about understanding who we are, grounded in both our past experiences and the future we envision for ourselves. According to Erickson, adolescence is a critical time where young people grapple with forming a clear sense of identity or risk falling into confusion about their role in the world. Building on this, Marcia offers a helpful way to look at identity formation through different statuses, which depend on how much someone explores various options and how committed they are to their choices. The thoughtful expression in the image captures this very process of reflection and anticipation, highlighting the introspective nature of adolescent identity development. Here we see the 4 identity statuses proposed by Marcia, which help us understand how individuals form their sense of self during adolescence. Starting with identity achievement. This is when a person has explored various options and made firm commitments to their values and goals, reflecting a mature and well-developed identity. Next is identity foreclosure, where someone commits without much exploration, often adopting the values of their parents or authority figures without question. Then there's identity moratorium, characterized by active exploration but without having made definitive commitments yet. It's a kind of in-between phase full of searching. Lastly, identity diffusion describes a state where there's neither commitment nor exploration, and the individual may seem indifferent or disengaged from forming a clear identity. It's important to recognize that identity development doesn't happen in isolation. Parents play a crucial role by providing both support and opportunities for independence. Peers contribute emotional support, helping adolescents navigate their social world. Schools encourage exploration through exposure to different ideas and activities. And the broader socio-historical context can either expand or limit the choices available to young people. Life events like divorce or job loss can also influence identity well into adulthood. In sum, identity formation is a complex, ongoing process shaped by both internal exploration and external factors. As we conclude, this slide brings together our discussion on ethnic identity and gender identity, emphasizing how these aspects develop and shape who we are. We've explored the stages of identity formation and what it means to affiliate with various ethnic and gender groups. Looking ahead, future research is moving into exciting areas like neuroimaging to better understand the brain's role in identity development, using self-verification theory to explore how individuals affirm their identities, and importantly, focusing on diverse adolescent populations to ensure inclusivity in our understanding. The image here reflects that diversity and the shared journey of identity, reminding us that this field is about people and their experiences across different backgrounds.